Earlier this week, the NDP promised to expand their daycare program if re-elected. The party would cap all childcare spaces at $25 a day per child. This is an expansion of a pilot project that began 2 years ago. The $25 cap would apply no matter what a parent has been currently paying for childcare and includes all daycare centers, public and private, as well as day homes. Danielle Smith from Global News Radio 770 CHQR joins us now to talk more about this. This is a big conversation to have for sure. And you are going to be chatting with some daycare operators?
Yes, there's a private daycare operator group who is pretty unimpressed with the plan. Now, keep in mind, I think that Rachel Notley is selling it as if every single daycare is now going to be under this $25 cap and subsidized. Like, let's remember, if you do the math on it, especially with child care workers to the number of kids in their care, there are ratios that are defined by law based on how old the child is. And so if you do the math on that, there's a big hole, and it means the government has to come in and subsidize. So they started off with the pilot program, moved to 7,200 additional spaces. They're adding an additional 13,000, they say, at a cost of $1.5 billion over 5 years. But there's 62,000 spaces out there. So the childcare operators in the private sector are wondering, well, what's going to happen if I'm competing for business with a government-sanctioned and government-subsidized childcare provider who is just down the street? There is a danger that they won't be able to compete, and that we'll end up seeing some of these private operators go under, and as a result, we'll end up with fewer spaces. There's also other issues of how it is that you target the support. I don't think that anybody is really all that concerned about trying to help out those moms who are at the lower end of the income scale, who need to be able to get the support with childcare so that they can get out and start working their way up the economic ladder. But if you've got a couple of high-powered lawyers who are both taking in $300,000 a year, and they just happen to be, with the luck of the draw, at one of these facilities getting $25 a day daycare, is that really what we're supposed to have our social programs for? So these are the real questions, is that I think when Rachel Notley says she wants to make this the Medicare of our time, she wants to implement a universal program ultimately. And the question would be, does that mean that it's all going to be government run under government rules, and the private operators and the private entrepreneurs are going to be completely squeezed out? We're only beginning to see the beginning of the plan, but that's what these operators are concerned about. We're going to talk to them about it.
So if this wouldn't be the solution, then what would be? I mean, it's not an easy question to answer.
Well, I think that the conservative approach is often what differentiates the two. Those who are on the progressive side, the liberal side, the socialist side, whatever you want to call it, they like universality. They don't want anybody to be stigmatized. They want everybody to be subsidized, everybody to buy into the program. It also has the advantage of, if it's a union-dominated program, then you hire more union workers, which increases the level of support that you get in the next election. So there's a whole ideology around that. On the conservative side, it's more targeted support. Give the money to those who most need it, whether it's through a voucher program, whether it's through some kind of test of family income to know that they need the extra support because they're just getting out in the workplace. And so then you would have a much smaller program, and that's traditionally been the kind of program that we've had in the past. So I think that you've got two very different views about how we should go forward. It's sort of interesting we're having a discussion about adding a massive new social program when we're running $8 to $10 billion annual deficits. That's what people are going to have to put in their minds is, even if they love the idea, can we afford it? And if you put in more programs now that you can't afford, it just delays the pain when you have to get back into balanced budget later. So we'll get into that a little bit.
Just
today.
Quickly, though, we're out of time. The Notley plans, she says that it's going to generate money, assuming that more people would be in the workforce then doing that.
Well, again, in my two-lawyer example, they're probably working anyway. And so really it's just an additional cost in the case of some families. I think there's an assumption that that women who put I think there's the assumption that the only way women will get back into the workforce is if the government subsidizes their childcare. I don't think most people make their decision on that basis. I think they make the decision on the basis of the education that they have, the job opportunities that they have, wanting to have work-life balance, looking forward into the future about what they want to do when their kids are grown and in school. So I think it's a false argument, frankly.
The conversation continues on your show this morning at 9:30. Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you.